I was only told the night before the game that, oh, Zinzan, by the way, we want you to lead the Haka. And I went, what?
Now let's look at the All Blacks Haka, and leading it is the new man.
Zinzan Brooke, Rugby World Cup legend, Rugby World Cup winner from New Zealand, one of the All Blacks, 1987 World Cup winning team. It's a long time ago, Zinzan, isn't it?
Very long time ago here, and it's but you never forget, because you had the moment that you entered onto the international arena. Yes, you get selected, but being selected is one part of the journey. Playing your first match is the ultimate, and took a little bit of time.
You're going, obviously, and you mentioned there from your first match all the way to you held the World Cup aloft.
Yes.
You know, lots of stuff happened in between that time, but do you still remember the first bit and the last bit, or is it all kind of a blur and you only remember the key moments?
Probably, I do remember the moments of actually in the final, actually, or parts or the games.
Just in general, like what kind of parts? Because obviously, I mean, I've never held a World Cup aloft. I might have held a blow-up World Cup, but you've won the World Cup. You know, no one can take that away from you.
No.
So, you know, from playing sort of rugby in the park as a kid, right the way up until holding the World Cup, that's a long journey, and it takes a lot of hard work to get there.
Yeah.
Are there key moments in your career that you do still remember, or do you just remember the happy moments where you're lifting the World Cup, or are there
I think it's important to actually to just sort of understand the good, the bad, and the indifferent, because it's because that's part of the journey of life, and it's you want to make sure that you want to get it right and demonstrate and do what you want to do for your country, and it's New Zealand's no better place. Me growing up as a youngster on a farm with 5 other siblings is, and I'm the smallest, so I used to get teased.
Wow,
because I was the shortest. Yeah. All my brothers grew up a lot bigger than me, but they haven't lifted a World Cup. But.
And I bet you remind them of that all the time, don't you? So obviously, we in this country, look, we have rugby teams and stuff like that, but New Zealand, it is like India and cricket, isn't it? It's a religion in New Zealand. So how much pressure is on you when you are playing for the All Blacks? Because that is a massive thing around your neck, wearing that jersey, isn't it?
Well, what it is, it's all about what you do. For me, the pressure is you've got to absorb that there, and then take it in and do what you are chosen to do. And you don't have to start with actually just doing your job and doing it right, doing it properly, and making less mistakes than the opposition, because it's quite easy to win then. But for me, in 1987, it was and I think actually back in those days, it was actually there was only 26 in the squad.
Wow.
Yeah. So so players actually had to cover positions, and it's only when players got injured that you come in into the arena. And I was very fortunate that it was my debut. It just happened to be I call it Lucky Sunday because Michael Jones is a religious man and doesn't play on Sundays, and that game
you are on Lucky Sunday,
that game happened on the Sunday, and it was my debut, and I played open side. So
that is almost your sliding doors moment, isn't it? And I was going to go on to talk about that, but you got your opportunity, you had to take it. Was there when you, I don't know if you remember, but when you ran out and you got that opportunity, were you thinking, this is mine now, I have to keep this, or were you still thinking, wow, I'm playing for the All Blacks? Like what was going through your mind? Can you remember?
Well, mine was, I was more worried about the Haka.
Yeah.
Because
that's pressure as well, isn't it?
Well, yes, because I was only told the night before the game that Sir Brian Lahore actually, Zinzan, by the way, we want you to lead the Haka, and I went, what? And
when you pick your jaw up off the floor.
I picked my jaw off the floor, and I discussed it with him with a little bit of detail, because I'd never led the Haka. It was always the senior players.
Yeah.
And it was in those days it would have been Buck or Steve McDowell, but. I was. I think I was the only Maori boy that played that day, and I had to lead the haka at 21, and I was packing myself. And,
I can
so I was rehearsing, because when you're doing the haka, when you're doing it behind guys, it's much easier.
Yeah, you're not the centre of attention.
You're not the centre of attention. I've actually been in the. So I practiced till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, just up in front of the mirror, or in your
right in front of the mirror,
room?
and I did and it was it was absolutely, and then had about 6 hours about 6 hours sleep, and woke up about 8 and did another hour in front of the mirror as well. So, and I got it right, and what I needed to do was to I felt that if I get the haka right, the other bit, which rugby...
So almost the rugby was the enjoyable bit, wasn't it, really?
Well, it was.
Because you just went out and played your game and obviously performed, and here you are now. So, I mean, was it an automatic changing moment, though? So when you made your debut for New Zealand, could you go down to the local shop anymore? Was it an overnight thing, or did people take a little bit of time to kind of realise, oh my goodness, that's Zinzan Brooke? How did that kind of manifest itself? Yeah, it's sort of... it's... you got to keep your... Not your discipline, but you got to keep your... keep grounded.
You keep grounded.
Yeah.
It was, and that's one of the things I said, just wanted to, it's just early days, and you just don't want to make sure that you actually just be humble and not doing...
silly things,
the outrageous things that draws attention to yourself. And you say, "Goodness me, what is Zinzan doing?" It's like you don't need to do that. So,
certain England tours when they've been down under. But yes, we'll gloss over those. But we won't talk about that. Okay, so you played 100 matches for New Zealand, 50 out of them were tests.
Yes,
and scored 195 points. Is there a particular point or a particular match that you always go to when somebody asks you the question I'm going to ask you?
Yeah.
What was your favourite point, obviously, apart from winning the World Cup? Is it that, or do you have something else that you remember and really sticks out in your mind?
The one that sort of stuck out to me was the I think it was the second drop goal in 1996 when I did the drop goal against, and I was screaming out to Justin Marshall, and he turned around, and I turned around, I was going, Marshy, and he turned around, and he hesitated to actually pass the ball to me, and then he actually did give it to me, and then I did the drop goal because I was just doing it to push us out to 8 points to give us a buffer that South Africa, and there was I think it was about 11 or 12 minutes to go, so I was sort of watching the clock, and we wanted to run the clock down. And so if I had said, okay, right, 8 points is then South Africa then had to get a converted try and a penalty. And we were on the last about 7 minutes, we were on our goal line, absolutely
defending for your lives.
Packing us out because of the history of that particular game was I think the All Blacks have gone and toured South Africa, I think about 8 or 9 times, and never won a test series on South African soil. And that moment,
that drop goal,
about 8 minutes,
when that ball's coming back to you and you know you're going to kick it, and you know you're going to do that drop goal, what can you remember what's going through your mind when
absolutely.
you do that? What was going through your mind?
Just
kick it.
But just kick it softly. Just don't launch at it. Just
But in that moment, you've got the presence of mind to kind of almost stop, because time stands still, doesn't it? And as that ball's coming to you, you're thinking that before you drop it through the post.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. And do you feel the pressure, or is it kind of as you see it go through and the referee blows his whistle, is there kind of that moment, or is it you just like, right, get back and defend, or?
Yeah, well, part of that sort of story, there's a little bit of a backstory to it, is that, I didn't... I was a little bit different. Yes, I played in the forwards, and forwards are not allowed to kick the ball, but I sort of broke the rules, and because I used to do it, and I was, one of my first debuts for New Zealand under-17s, I played loose head prop, and we played against Australia at Carisbrook, not Carisbrook, at Lancaster Park. And I was the goal kicker.
Wow!
Yeah, and
so you knew what you were doing,
Yeah.
but it's just a case of it's basically backing your own ability as a sportsman, isn't it? You know you can put that ball through the post, and you know
Yes.
what you want to do. What about when it goes wrong? How have you dealt with those moments when something goes wrong, a hard defeat, or dropping that crucial pass at that time? How do you deal with those moments as well?
I don't want to be sort of. I only did 3 and I got them all.
No, drop goals, yes.
Yeah.
But, as you make mistakes all the way through, and obviously the famous drop goal that we remember in this country is the one at Wembley, because scoring a drop goal at Wembley Stadium, you've effectively a rugby player scoring a goal is not something that happens very often at Wembley Stadium.
And I was
You're probably
I was
the only one.
I was the only rugby player ever to actually do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So
yeah.
but there were those moments in your career. There must have been. I mean, you're a very successful man, but obviously you went to 3 World Cups, and
Yes.
you only won one of them.
Yes.
I'm not kind of digging, so
No,
I
no.
won one. But that sounds really harsh. But how did you deal with the deflation of losing those other 2 World Cups, especially after you were the reigning champions and then don't retain it?
Yeah, well, that's it was coming back like now when you do the post-mortem. When I'm sitting here now and doing the post-mortem of looking back like now, I can put hand on heart that that 91 side here, that wasn't a good enough side to actually to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
It didn't have the caliber of players that we had in 1987.
Do you feel that at the time? Because we obviously media now, and it's a lot more, with the internet and stuff like that, and there's a lot more social media and
Yes.
stuff. Do you know at the time that your team's not good enough to win the World Cup? Do you always believe in yourself, or is that the self-doubt coming?
Yeah, you have the belief. You've just got to make sure that every and there's other teams that have the same situation. And but what you don't do is you don't ever broadcast that there to the opposition, because opposition will pick up on that and goes, right, this is going to be easy pickings. So and that's what you don't want to be doing, and that of making judgment calls. But that was part and parcel of the of some of the players and some of the teams that you knew you knew what you had to do to actually take control and make sure that you don't lose it, because it's egg on your face if you
absolutely
if you lose it. And
what type of person were you as a player? Did you kind of suck in the atmosphere before the games? If you're walking around Eden Park, massive, great big stadium for people that don't know in New Zealand, and they play cricket there, they play rugby there, and you're walking around that iconic venue, are you looking up thinking, this is Eden Park? Are you so focused that you're in the moment? Are you picking out people in the crowd? How do you absorb the whole game atmosphere in those big moments?
I try and keep more relaxed, because I focus on the Tuesday and the Thursday and the captain's run on the Friday, and then all the mental stuff of concentrating on the day of the game is just wake up. Don't be any different. You don't have to. What you got to do is just turn up and execute what you have trained to do, and do your business and
back your ability.
And if sometimes it does go wrong, but you get a second chance if you have a second chance.
Yeah, and that's it. So when you're talking to small kids or even young adults that are starting to play rugby, is there a key point that you would say to them? It is basically about, you do the training during the week, you just got to execute your plans. Is it that simple, or do you think there are certain kind of hacks you would be able to give young rugby players coming through?
Yeah, good question. And it's I sort of try and find that just to try and get an understanding of the actual individual. If he actually, because there are some kids, boys and girls, that absolutely love it more than you think. You say, wow, and when you see that, look like, wow, there's a absolutely enthusiastic kid there. Look at that, and he's going to go places. And you do see it, and you sort of. You put little tags on them, and then you sort of see, and you sort of follow the name, and if they come back to you, and it's but it's very interesting storyline for that there to for kids to do well, and that's one of the great things for rugby. I just love watching it now, and it's
absolutely
it's very special.
Before we move on or we leave your career, if you like, do you have any regrets from your career? Is there anything you think, I wish we'd have done that better, or I don't feel like I played in that game? Any particular regrets from your, it was a great career that you had?
Not really. I try not to have any regrets. You know, there's an 80 minutes and it's all equal. Yeah. It's just sometimes you come out on the top side and sometimes you come out on the other side, and you got to take it on the chin and regroup and focus on your next adventure to make sure you get it right the next time. And that's where I sort of say focus on. You can only change what's in front of you.
You can't change the past. Yeah, absolutely. So the armchair person that you are now, and of course you're an ex-New Zealand rugby player.
Yes.
And you have to sit and watch the team you played for and represented your country. Yes. Is that hard?
No, it's actually nice because it's watching some of the. I feel some of the tackles these guys do, and like and like when you go into. Bumps and tackles, and these guys have just got some of these guys they've just got no respect for their bodies, and they just absolutely let it go. But see, and I sort of keep reminding my two sons, and I said, Daddy, but these guys are bigger than you. I said, no, but I said, look, I only experienced 2 years of professional rugby.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to go to the gym, because I had a daytime job. I was a plumber and gas fitter. And 5 days a week I was on the tools.
And people don't realise that, do they? So it's one of those things where, today we talk about nutrition lists, and there's almost more people on the plane that aren't players and backroom staff that are going over to these tours. For people that don't know, it was very, very different. Like you say, you were doing 5 days a week work.
Correct.
And then playing for your country, not just your club, your country at the weekend. That's got to be difficult. How did you deal with that? Because that's got to be mentally exhausting.
Well, and on the back of that there, when you go on a tour for 8 weeks, you're taking your time
your leave.
or take all your annual leave on there, and you're like, you don't have to even ask your boss. The boss has got, well, I can't really stop him because he's going for the All Blacks. So it's like, and... So part there, and they just accept it, and they think that's part of the journey. So,
do you think if it hadn't have been the All Blacks, do you think it could have been something slightly different? Because if you had, you obviously had a good boss that let you go. But if it was maybe for like Christchurch or something like that, do you think they would have let you go abroad for 8 weeks, or because it was the All Blacks and it's such a, like I said, almost a religion in New Zealand? Do you think that's why it happened?
Yeah, that plumbing outfit probably wouldn't have got a lot of work. It was sort of written in the stars. I think.
Definitely.
So and the passionate supporters of New Zealand and all the other countries. They and for a small little country like New Zealand, and you're stopping one of your powerhouses of the game not to go on a tour is
people don't realise that though, do they? Because the All Blacks are synonymous with rugby. People talk about Rugby Union International, we talk about the All Blacks, but New Zealand is not Australia, the size of Australia, and the people you've got to choose from. So how is it you keep producing such great teams from such a small country compared to look at South Africa, look at Australia, England as well, or 4 nations here? Like, how is it they just keep coming through in New Zealand? What is it? Do you feed them something for breakfast? Or?
Well, no. It's quite a marvelous. It's quite a marvelous thing to actually watch, and then you do actually. I've asked myself that question quite a few times, and I was going, because this whole team, like this the Richard McCaw dynasty going back to back with Graham Henry.
Yeah.
And that was just unbelievable, and it's just phenomenal that we just kept producing the players and top caliber, and
you keep coming through,
and they keep coming through, and it's look, it must be something.
It must be something in the water, surely.
Must be something in the water.
There it is. So, we've got Southern Hemisphere, and for those that don't necessarily follow rugby, but you've got Southern Hemisphere teams, you've got Northern Hemisphere teams.
Yes.
Your Southern Hemisphere competition is obviously the Rugby Championship.
Yes.
With yourselves, New Zealand, Australia, and recently Argentina.
Yes.
And then over here in England and across the UK, people will know the Six Nations Board.
Yes.
But we do find when we go to World Cups, there is more of a domination of the Southern Hemisphere when everybody gets together. Why do you think that there is such a domination from the Southern Hemisphere?
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised considering where the game actually began.
Yeah,
which was
of course
here from the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we've got. It does surprise me, but there's and I'm deeply surprised right at the moment because I've got a massive passion and love for Welsh rugby.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So my heroes were Gareth Edwards and Phil Bennett. Those guys there, and like for me, they just wow. God, I've got to be doing some of those sort of things.
And Welsh rugby not in the greatest of states now, is it?
No, it's not, and that for me that's a concern, and we need to make sure that we and look slowly. Hopefully they'll come back, but it's just devastation, just right at this present moment of time here. But Italy started into the Six Nations arena, and they were the whipping boys back in the beginning.
They were the wooden spoon boys, weren't they?
Correct.
They were.
And like now with that there, and now like you see Argentina coming into the championship now, and how have they blossomed, and that's I think that's fantastic, and that's absolutely just all down to. Right, you got to play against the better teams, and you got to muscle up. And Argentina are actually doing it, and I think the Italians they're doing it so much better as well. So,
do you think rugby's a stronger place now? Because look, beforehand and in that kind of
yes is the answer.
Yeah, we had the Five Nations, didn't we? And then we had obviously the Rugby Championship didn't include Argentina when it first started. And there is a lot of travelling around now, and it's becoming more of a global game. But you've got Japan coming in, who obviously hosted a World Cup.
Yes,
you've got the USA as well coming in there. Rugby really is growing around the world, isn't it? And why do you think so many people are now all of a sudden embracing rugby union across the world?
I think it's partly to do with what they see and what they enjoy of the game, and it's like it's not the chemistry and the dynamics of what it brings, and not only to the players. Yes, the players have got a huge there's a huge demand for players now, and expectations. And you've got to fulfil the pathway to what people expect that you should be doing every single day. But sometimes it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't unfold that way.
And that's a really important point, because some federations around the world, if, for example, I'm English and I go and play in France, which has happened before, or some other different countries do it, I'm then banned from playing for the national team. What are your thoughts on that? Because it's a bit weird, because in football we see players globally go around the world, and Brazilians playing in Europe and stuff like that. And Brazil don't turn around and go, well, you're playing for Barcelona, you can't do that. Why is rugby saying to these guys, well, you're English and you're playing in the French league, so you're not going to play for England anymore? What's that about?
I think that's a bit of a nonsense, really. I just think they need to, just categorically, it needs to have someone who's actually like a governing body that actually controls and do it properly. Because not only the professional side of the game here is ran, and it's but at the same time you want to make sure that every single player needs to know exactly where they stand and what they can and what they can't do, and and or else you're going to get players who are going to go, well, why am I doing this?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what when we
begs
talk
the
about,
question.
Yeah, passion for countries, like we talked about with you. How can you push someone away from your own country who's very good at a sport? I just don't understand it from somebody looking out who watches rugby. Why are we penalising these people? It just makes no sense.
Well, I'd certainly roll up my sleeves on that one
and get them back in there. So it's a rule that does need changing. But when we look at the sides that we've got in the Northern Hemisphere now, before we come on to the Southern Hemisphere, did it hurt you to see Wales lose? Did you ever think you'd see them lose 14 Test matches in a row? That's just unheard of, isn't it?
No, I didn't. It actually, it did actually make me shed a tear. Actually, because it was sad, because it was, because of the two guys, and I know Gareth and Phil very, very well, and that was and I was just thinking that, goodness me, those guys there have got to put on a massive face and show up, and they've got to stay strong, and you've got to, and it's but you've just got to rely on the expectation of, okay, the next game it's going to change, but hopefully, it
has to change though sometimes, doesn't it? That's the thing I think that all Welsh fans can look at. I mean, we've got the autumn internationals coming up. They're playing Argentina, Japan, New Zealand and South Africa. So we've got South and North kind of colliding. Can you see out of those 4 games, Argentina, Japan, New Zealand and South Africa, is there a win in there for Wales out of those 4 games? Put your neck on the line.
Is this a real game or a board game?
Well, it could be whatever you want. It's your game at the moment because it's your interview. I mean, some Welsh fans have pointed to the Japan game and there's no easy game in international rugby.
Not.
We know that.
No.
But at the same time, they would say that maybe that we don't see the All Blacks losing to Wales. We don't probably see the world champion South Africa losing. So you've then got Argentina and Japan left.
Yes.
They've got to get a win on the board somewhere.
Yes.
Could it be an opportunity to maybe get it in with Argentina and Japan? I mean, they're no pushovers. But
no, they're no pushovers here. But yes, you can. You've just got to have it on the day on the actual Test match day. You've just got to have it right. But I still think that there's got to be more time to address the situation and get the calibre of players that are needed to actually perform in this in that game to actually win against Argentina. But it's because sometimes you do come and say, oh, these guys here are a bit of a pushover. You sort of think, you underestimate. You sort
go
of
out and put 100 on the
go
board.
out, yeah. Hey, look, those guys there having a drink on a Friday night before a Test match.
Yeah,
really? Okay, that's interesting. Because back in the day,
Well, that's an interesting point actually, because I was going to bring that up. So we talk about the Southern Hemisphere and the North Hemisphere in the autumn internationals. Everyone comes over here, but it's very much you fly into London Heathrow, you go and you play maybe England at Twickenham one week, and then you don't really hang around. Straight after the game, you're on a coach because you go down to Cardiff, and then you maybe go from Cardiff to Dublin, and stuff like that. So it's really different from when you played, isn't it? Because you would go, like you said, you went on a tour for 8 weeks to certain places.
Yeah.
Do you think that's bad for the game or good for the game, the way that it's evolved and they're literally going?
We don't have any videos anymore here. You don't have any court sessions. Mm-hmm. You want to have the court sessions, and when you have your roommate, and you always want to make your roommate a superstar if he does the right thing for filming. And it was So when we had the good, the bad, and the rugby, and it was fantastic, and it was just one of those sort of things here. It sort of lightened the moment. It takes a little bit of pressure off you to actually just sort of, hey, you're not just a rugby player, because it just shows another side of you.
But do you think that maybe the rugby has forgotten a few of its key values in places? Because there is so much. Look, they want to fill Twickenham for every game. We get that. And England are playing Fiji, they're playing New Zealand, they're playing Argentina, and they're playing Australia. Yep. The Fiji game's not sold out. The Argentina game's not sold out. But the other two obviously sold out in 10 minutes.
Yes.
Is that because people are kind of only really interested in the so-called bigger teams, in inverted commas, or has rugby forgotten? Actually, if we maybe lower those ticket prices a bit and we get like dads taking their children, like you spoke about your sons, would that get more people into rugby, and would that then grow the game, do you think? Well,
you can't be, absolutely, because not being disrespectful, I'd rather have a full stadium, of course. Certainly for Fiji and Argentina, absolutely, and to me, right here and now, Argentina command a full stadium because they're not the easy beats. No,
and they were the Italy of the Southern Hemisphere, weren't
correct?
They? Yeah,
absolutely. And if you start thinking that, you're just going to rock up here and these guys here, England will beat them by 30 or 40 points. I beg to differ. I think Argentina will actually turn around and go, hey, hang on, guys, we're a team. And we're proud. Here now. We're a proud nation, and I know the Argentinians quite well, and even in rucks and scrums and tackling, and they bring a bit of flair though as well, don't they? Well, they've
got some flair players, and when they first burst onto the scene in the World Cup and they were coming on board, they've got the little wingers darting around, and it's almost like Speedy Gonzalez was running around, wasn't it? So they've really brought something. They've given us something different, and the Italians have in a way, because they play in some football stadiums which offer a different atmosphere. So it's really important that we get those extra bigger teams to grow, isn't it?
Absolutely, totally agree. Yeah. Well, and fulfilling some confidence in there, and just sort of like, hey, look. This is what happens if you actually pack a stadium out and you actually get a decent game, and it's I reckon that's what they should do. They shouldn't be actually thinking that you charge the same price for the games, the other games that are obviously going to.
I checked, and a ticket for Twickenham for the Australia and the New Zealand game is £150 cheapest ticket that you could buy. So that was up in the gods on level 5 of Twickenham. But for the Fiji game, they're 125, so £25 off. But in the current cost of living crisis, and people would look at that and go, would I rather go and see New Zealand or Fiji? And unfortunate fact is it's the All Blacks. So if you're going to spend that money, you're going to spend it on the All Blacks, aren't you? If they maybe reduce that to £50, even maybe £100, do you think that would bring more families in and again grow the game across the country?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely would. And I totally agree with that. Yeah,
just get more people in and
get more people in here and grow the game.
So the All Blacks are coming,
and
they're going to play England, they're going to play Wales, they're going to play Ireland, and they're going to play Scotland while they're over here. Is that a 4 out of 4? Nice easy Grand Slam. Go back to New Zealand.
Well, I don't think they're ever going to be easy now because I think this. I think we've got a pretty decent side, but people are working this out and understanding what needs to happen. And if you start doing that and then asking questions of us, we need to start asking questions of you guys.
Well, you had a bit of a shock, didn't you? Because in the Rugby Championship this year, I know you finished joint on points with South Africa, and we're going to talk about them in a minute. But there was a few shocks there, and it sent shockwaves around when you did get beaten in that Rugby Championship. Has that kind of, for want of a better phrase, given them a bit of a kick up the backside, the All Blacks? Did they get a little bit too complacent and think, a little bit like what you said, these guys are rocking up with the All Blacks, so it doesn't really matter? Was there a bit of arrogance there or a bit of...
Well, you don't know. I've in the times that I actually, even midweek games here, I'd never... Through my journey, what was I? I was 10 years, 10 years in the game, and not once did we ever think about we for the 100 times we never don't just turn up and expect that you're just gonna whip these guys because they're only this, and you've got to make sure that you respect the team regardless of whether it's South Africa, Australia, England. Or a midweek team, in the midweek things, it's really important because because if you actually put pressure on the test players, all of a sudden the coaches are starting to hang on a second here, we need to try this guy because he's did all right.
Yeah, and that's something that we've seen go out the game, because when people used to come on tours, and the Lions do it, so the Lions, when they're going around, they play, obviously they went to Australia this time, they play on a Wednesday, so they may play a local club side, or they may play a President's 11, a President's 15 or something like that. So should we see now, when New Zealand are coming over here, for example, they play the test match on the Saturday, should there be a game, say, against Harlequins or Saracens maybe on the Wednesday, just to kind of get that tour and keep that momentum going, or do you think it's better just having the 4 test matches?
I just think there that as long as all the other teams are doing the same, because what you don't want to be doing is putting hey, hang on a second here, you've got 13 or 14 test matches, and then you've got a couple of midweekers, and you guys are the only ones that are playing it.
Yeah, and the calendar it's a massive schedule now, isn't it, around the world? A lot more so, obviously, than when you were playing. And that's obviously led to next year's 2026 Rugby Championship is not really going to be a Rugby Championship because obviously the All Blacks are touring South Africa.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's the right decision? Because I know it's the first tour for 30 years, like the first proper tour.
Yes.
And obviously they've played each other in the Rugby Championship. Yep. But do you think that's the right thing to do?
Clearly, they've had a discussion and agreed there because you don't want to actually get it wrong. And I just think it's maybe, which is what we're sort of touching on before about mingling of all these players and starting to meet the people, because I sort of find that's what's missing, a little bit of connection. Yes, they come into all the big cities and the big stadiums, but yet they don't go out to the smaller clubs, the provincial grounds, and actually just go and rubbing shoulders with people that have never seen an All Black or a South African or an Aussie. But probably don't want to see an Aussie.
I was going to point that out because I was quite surprised you to bring them up. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, but and the Aussies and the Argentinians, and it was and I think that's really important for the for players, and I think it's really important for the game about making sure that we don't lose contact and the connections. And that's vital.
So we've got at the moment South Africa dominant in the Southern Hemisphere, France very dominant in the Northern Hemisphere as well. They're obviously the Six Nations holders.
Yes.
They came very close in their own World Cup. Fast forward on to 2027 when we have the next World Cup, which is in that Australia, that little place next door to New Zealand.
Yes.
Is that going to be something that we're going to see a World Cup like we saw last time? Is it going to be really competitive, or do you think there will be a certain hemisphere that's going to dominate that because it is in the Southern Hemisphere? Because it does seem when we have Southern Hemisphere World Cups that the Southern Hemisphere teams do well. But the conditions don't really differ. It's rain, it's wind, it's not different from anywhere else. So why do you think the Southern Hemisphere teams really dominate when they're at home?
Interesting, because it's all sort of when you look at the team's performance of from the Southern Hemisphere to the Northern Hemisphere here, there's no real sort of there's no sort of missing sort of link to
I get it
to the performance that why is there any difference?
Yeah, and that's I think people find that hard to understand sometimes. As an armchair fan, because I've never won a World Cup, you have. So, I'm just somebody who watches TV and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, it's raining in New Zealand, but it's also raining at Twickenham. But why is the rain in New Zealand different to the rain in Twickenham? And that's, us armchair fans don't understand that.
Well, as much as I'd love to say that we always put a magic recipe in the rainwater, but that's definitely not the case. It's rain's wet, regardless whether it's actually the Northern Hemisphere or the Southern Hemisphere. Yeah. So it's we get you get quite a bit of it here, but you get quite a bit of it in New Zealand as well. So I just think it just comes back down to the passionate. Passionate countries, and right at the moment we're seeing a South African side that are very passionate and understand what is needed to do and to perform and actually win World Cups and actually win championships.
Well, that was my next question. Can they be beaten? Because we saw in the World Cup final that they're a dominating team, and that was a tight World Cup final, and it was quite low scoring. But we've also seen them run away with some games as well. So you do honestly think that they're up for grabs and that anyone can get them.
Yeah, because it's all about just catching them on the hop. And if you catch them on the hop, that they sort of feel that, because what you should I sort of think is sometimes is that you actually fill them up with everything and actually just they are the best.
Yeah,
they are the best, and and
to be the best, you've got to beat the best.
Correct.
So yeah, absolutely.
And that's where and if they start believing that, and they just sort of think, oh yeah, okay, yeah, and they start casually sort of joke around, but it's quite hard to do that when you're going into a World Cup final and you're and the physical confrontation that you're having is not one that you want to fool around with, because you can get hurt, and
it's a tough game.
It is a tough game, and and it's even tougher now because of the caliber of players, because these guys are professional now, and they spend not 24/7, but they're in the gym a lot. It's a lot more, which I would have loved to have done back in my day.
With nutritionists and gyms and stuff like that, just kind of a bit more professional is what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, I had one. We had two training sessions, a Tuesday and a Thursday, and then partly you had the gym sessions on a Monday and a Wednesday, but you had to buy the membership, and that's quite hard to buy a membership when you're sort of
you're going out doing your plumbing and gas fitting,
plumbing and gas fitting, and then you're and it's quite. But that's that sort of dedication and sacrifice that you want. If you want to be in the best team, well, that's what you've got to do.
And finally, from me, is World Rugby at the moment. We love watching the Six Nations. We love watching club games. Who are you looking out for in World Rugby? Either team, player. What excites you about rugby in its present form?
I love seeing that the new the new like Johnny Wilkinson or Dan,
the new crop coming through.
Yeah, Dan Carter and those guys coming in here and blending. And when are they going to release them? And it's like, because there's going to be a couple of players that are in the next next World Cup is
2027.
2027. So what's that? It's 24 months.
Mm-hmm. It's in October 2027.
Yeah, I think there's a potential of having a Jonah come along.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. And just kind of dominating the whole tournament like Jonah Lomu did and just literally blowing everyone away.
Yeah.
But would there be an All Black, though?
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, for me that wouldn't matter. But you'll certainly know when he's on the scene, and you sit there and you just sit there and you go, wow, right, okay, this is going to be good. And that's for me is that's exciting. And like for me, I've got like that All Black side that with under Richie McCaw and they were just absolutely magnificent,
unstoppable.
Oh goodness gracious!
But there's always that one of Jonah Lomu at Twickenham when he was kind of stomping through the underwoods and it was almost like he was treading water to get to the touchline, but everyone was just left in his wake. And you think someone like that's going to come along at the 2027 kind of World Cup and just blow everyone away? Well,
that person has to come along. They're going to have to show their wares in the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah. And burst onto the scene.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Zinzan Brooke, thank you so much. I really enjoyed
Absolutely
that.
Pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks, Zinzan. That was a great chat. And thank you for joining us here on Liberty Rock Sport. Don't forget to check out our socials and we'll be back again soon with some more great insight with some great sporting people. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.